Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Hot Toys Iron Man 2 Mark IV with suit-up gantry. I'll be scoring this figure in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once the scores are all added up, I'll give you my opinion if it's a pass or purchase. As for accessories, the figure comes with a Robert Downey portrait, which we've seen, I believe, 3 times now. If I'm not mistaken, we've seen this with the Mark IV that has some battle damage. And we've seen it again with another Robert Downey Jr. figure. I can't recall which one it is. And this one appears to be much lighter than the Mark IV head sculpt. I'll see if I can actually pull that figure out and maybe give a comparison a little bit later. It also comes with the cowl, which goes around the neck so that you can put this figure on your Mark IV. Comes with a pair of shades, which are done very well. You can see the checkered on the side, the checkered pattern. And the shades are actually transparent. Not sure if it's picking up through the video. I believe that it is. So the shades are transparent. Comes with this donut box. Comes with a donut, which looks very good. See if we can get that to focus a little better. Okay, having a hard time getting this to focus. Comes with a cup, coffee cup actually, which looks great. The only thing that I would have liked to see on this was maybe some coffee stainage from him drinking it. The figure comes with 3 pair of hands, 2 fisted figures that are on the figure. It comes with repulsor hands for the left and right hands. Also, again, repulsor hands with articulated fingers. It also comes with an assortment of arm and shoulder weapons, both for the left and right side of the figure. Some great detail on most of these props. And the shoulder cannon actually is articulated, so you can lift it up and down. And of course, the other accessory that's included with this figure would be the suit-up gantry. As I'm looking at it, I'm sort of dreading putting it together, but I'm going to attempt to put it together on video. Before I forget to mention, since this figure comes with the gantry, it does not come with a standard base. So the first step is to pull up the 2 tabs in the back. The gantry itself, you can pull it apart. Each of the chambers sort of separate. At that point, you want to elevate. I don't know if the outer pieces, and I'm going through this for the first time, so I have not put this together and now doing it on video. So this is the first time I'm actually doing it, right? Okay, according to the instructions, it should be elevated like so. All right, that looks about right. Okay, it's stating that this tab should lock. Okay, that looks about right. According to the directions, next would be to attach the forearms. There are slots indicated here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to tab these in. I can't tell by the instructions if this is forward or backward. So for the time being, I'll just insert them like this. Okay, so that was the first error on my end. The arms do not tab into this. There's actually a tab here. Maybe it's not the easiest to see, but there are 2 tabs, one here, and up top. Turn this around. There are also 2 tabs here and here. So this is where the arms, the mechanical arms, actually peg in. And if I have this connected the wrong way, it's fine because they can easily turn around. So I'm just going to tab all 4 arms in. All 4 small mechanical arms are tabbed in. Next, the instructions state to tab in both medium arms. So there's a tab here. And again, I don't know if this is forward or backwards. And there's also a tab here. Okay, so I got confused for a moment with the directions. So it appears that one of the large mechanical arms and the piston piece, I guess that's what we'll call it, connect into one another like so. And if you look at the shape, if you spin the gantry around, you actually find the port to where it tabs in. So you're going to tab it in here. Okay, that's tabbed in. For the 2 remaining arms, the 2 large arms, they each come with a piece that again you would have to tab in the mechanical part. I want to assume that it goes here, but I don't think that it does. Doesn't appear that it goes here. All right, so after applying some muscle, and at first I was scared to, this piece does tab in like so. And you do the same thing with the other side. Now, once you have each side tabbed in, it should be facing this direction. So with the gantry arm this way, and this should be facing this way. If you look, you'll notice another tab that we have right here. If you look at the gantry, there's a tab right here that this simply plugs into. So I have one side that's already tabbed in. I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to rotate this so that it's in the front. I don't like how that looks. Okay, here we go. So that is in the front. And again, if you look, I'm not sure if you can see this so well, but the tab is right here. You're essentially going to do the same thing. Plug this tab right into that section. And here's the gantry all set up and complete. Now that we've seen the accessories, let's take a look at the articulation. So there are four small mechanical arms. It's able to turn left. It's able to turn right. Perhaps I can get more range of movement. I have big hands and it's a very tight spot here. So the bottom portion of the arm is able to move forward. It's able to move backwards. It's a little bit hindered by the medium size arm. Right where the first bolt would be. See if I can zoom in on that just a little bit. Right here. The arm moves forward. Also moves backwards. Right around the next bolt. The top arm does not move forward. However, it does move backwards. And the top part here is able to move up and down. And it's the same on all four arms. So with the medium arm, you have two. It's able to move forward at the first hinge here. It's able to move all the way backwards. Uh-oh, I don't like how that sounds. Okay, so I got a bit nervous with the arm and I just found out something new and I'll explain that shortly. So again, with articulation, this portion here is able to move back some, forward not that much. The small silver piece here can go up and down. This part doesn't feel movable and I'm not comfortable pushing it beyond that point. Up top, it's able to move back all the way forward. And above it, you're able to move this part. Can you see that? This part here is able to move forward and backwards. And again, the silver portion is able to move. What I just figured out is that there's a magnet on both sides of the medium arms. Not sure if you saw that on camera, but it snapped into place right here. And I guess that's where Robert Downey Jr. head or some portion of the Iron Man upper torso goes. So with the large arms, they are able to move back, forward. The upper part here is also able to move only this far back, really none at all. This much forward, maybe a little more, but it's hindered by the medium arm. And you're able to rotate this piece here. Be careful because it is attached to wires. So the top part here doesn't appear that it drops down. Yeah, so this part here isn't articulated, doesn't move up nor down. I want to test it, however, the wires, each time I move it, and the fact that this is plastic, I'm pretty nervous, so I'm going to stop there. It doesn't appear that any of the parts here rotate. The pistons really aren't functional. The arms aren't articulated. If you can see the small silver arms here, they are not articulated and they're pretty cheaply made. And it appears that we have one more piece. See if I can start from the bottom. So this part, I believe you're able to, nope, you're not able to rotate, and I almost broke it. You are able to rotate at this point right here. It should go around full 360. This portion here, sorry about the camera work. The gantry is pretty big and I'm working in a small station. So this part here collapses back. It goes forward, perhaps all the way if it wasn't for the other pieces. Moving on to the last piece for articulation. It does not turn at the bottom. However, it does turn here. You can get a full 360. This joint, you're able to move it back a lot. forward a lot. It's hindered by the pieces that are in front of it. The pistons aren't working pistons. The metal pieces here, I assume that they turned. It does not feel like they turned, and I'm not going to try it. This part hinges up and down ever so slightly, and this part extends up and extends down, and that's it for articulation. As for articulation for the figure itself, the head is able to look up quite a bit, which is great. That can give you that I'm flying pose. It looks all the way down. You get some head pivot from side to side and head rotation. You can actually rotate 360. With the arms, the shoulder pad actually drops down, which gives you some added articulation. It's not broke, so I'll just leave that down for now. All right, so added arm goes out to about that much. Arm swivels up top, bicep swivel. No swivel at the bottom of the arm. However, the fist rotates, hinges up and down and side to side. Elbows are double jointed. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's some ab crunch, not a lot. Going backwards, much more forward. There's pivot left, pivot right, some diaphragm movement here. There is no cut in the waist, so the waist does not turn. However, at the upper thigh, you do get rotation. No more movement in the legs themselves. Well, I shouldn't say no more movement in the legs themselves. No cuts in the bottom half to turn the thighs or the boots. The toe hinges up, down, not really. Very minimal pivot, both left and right. Knees are double jointed. Leg extends out that much. You can lift, oops, sorry about that. You can lift the booty flap. Legs goes back about that much. So to remove the head and actually add the Tony Stark head is very simple. You lift up. So detaching this neck part has proven to be extremely difficult. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply tissue around it. I'm going to grab a pair of pliers. Yes, I'm going to put pliers on my Hot Toys. And I'm going to ever so gently wiggle it in the hopes that it comes out. Okay, getting off this piece was way too much work. I was unable to use the pliers. It kept slipping off with the tissue, and I didn't want to simply use the pliers without the tissue and damage it. However, I did get the figure, or this piece actually, off. It took a long time to do so. Once you have it off, simply apply this piece in, like so, and plop on your Robert Downey Jr. head scope, like so. So here's the Mark IV with suit up gantry in all of its glory. So we have a few things to discuss. As far as accessories, This figure comes with a lot, or it appears that it comes with a lot. The gantry system, such a large piece, helps a lot with that. So out of a possible score of 10, I gave this figure an 8 for accessories. Here's what's missing. Hot Toys has to find a way to include interchangeable damaged components that fit below the torso. Yes, we are accustomed to seeing the damaged faceplate. Yes, we are accustomed to seeing the damaged chest plate. But a figure looks very odd having the upper torso completely damaged with no damage to the lower torso. So Hot Toys, let's find a way to be able to include interchangeable pieces for below the torso. Also, what I would like to see are some sort of effect or explosion pieces. For those of you who collect Mezco 1 and 112 figures, they have a very cool effect piece which attaches to most of their weapons. It sort of simulates to how a gun would look as if it was fired. If Mezco is able to do this at an $80 price point, Hot Toys has to find a way to do this. For articulation, I give this figure a 7 out of 10. There are a few things that Hot Toys need to work on with their Iron Man figures. Nothing major, just small tweaks that would make posing much easier and more dynamic. The first would be the arms. Having added range of motion in the arms, perhaps another cut right around the elbow portion. However, the arms aren't the biggest challenge. In my opinion, the biggest challenge would be the legs. With the exception of the upper hip, no other components on the leg rotates. Yes, there are double jointed knees. Yes, there's some toe articulation and very, very limited pivot. So having some extra range, such as a boot cut right around the knee, would help out so much with posability as well as stability. So if I haven't said already, a 7 out of 10 for articulation. For design, this figure receives a 6 out of 10. And there are a few reasons why. The first starts with the Robert Downey Jr. portrait. I mentioned earlier in the video that we have seen this head at least 3 times. Most recently, we have seen it with the Mark V figure. See if I can focus in a little bit just to get it a little clearer. There we go. So it's essentially the same portrait that we're receiving over and over again. Another reason that this came down as far as scoring, we've also seen this suit before. This is essentially the Mark VI. Now, I'm not sure if I should deduct points from the Mark IV, being that it comes before the Mark VI, but we're receiving the same suit itself. Another issue that I have with the design is the gantry. The gantry looks like a phenomenal piece. However, it was very cheaply made. It should have been constructed of metal parts, or mostly. Yes, it should have been constructed out of metal parts. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for a company, but it's not. It's made of plastic, which isn't always bad. However, it feels very cheap. Once you have this gantry in your hands, it feels like a cheap toy that you can purchase at a 99-cent store. And I know that may sound like an exaggeration, but once you have this figure actually in your hands, and once you start moving certain components, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So the look of it is great. However, once you put your hands on the gantry itself, it's disappointing. So is this figure essential to your toy line? If you're a Hot Toys collector, I'm going to say absolutely. It is the 4th Mark out of the Iron Man suits. And without it, your collection is going to be a little bit incomplete. So for essential to your lineup, I actually give this a 9 out of a 10. For functionality, I gave this a 7 out of 10. The gantry, while cheap in its design, it really does what it's intended to do. It gives the impression that it's actually putting on pieces of the armor on Tony Stark itself. And for the Iron Man suit, it does, for the most part, all that you would need an Iron Man suit to do. Last but not least, pricing. This figure is priced at $635 US before shipping. That is excessive for an action figure, regardless of what it comes with, excuse me. I looked at a few things that you can purchase. The lease for a 2018 BMW 4 Series is under $635 a month. I could provide my family with food for 60 days for $635 a month. So for pricing, I gave this a 6 out of 10, not just because of the price itself, mainly because the gantry itself is cheap. It should have been made out of metal. It is not made out of metal. Once you have it in your hands, you will be afraid to move it because you will fear that the smallest turn in this direction will actually break it. So out of a possible score of 60, I gave this figure a 43. Now to pass or purchase. With all of its flaws, and it does have flaws, for me, this figure is still a purchase. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you the next video.